Welcome in to the Real Matrix. It's the Angry Patriot, along with my cohort, Dale Hellestray. And Dale wasn't on the last show, so he's really unaware of all this information that we're going to go over this show. Give you a quick refresher. Last show we talked about how the fact that the buildings on 9/11 couldn't have come down the way our government said. Our government said it was due because of fire. Fire weakened the metal beams in the building, and they collapsed on each other. Couldn't have happened. We're going to refresh that on this show from a different show, from a different video that I picked out. The information from the last show was from a film that you can see on Rumble, rumble.com. It's called Architects and Engineers for 9/11, something like that. This one is going to be from a video called Loose Change. Name Loose Change? That's a bad name. They probably should have done something a little better than that. But it's about a 2-hour documentary in regards to all the information that happened on 9/11. We're going to touch on part of it today in regards to the towers, how what we were told could not have happened by the laws of physics. And let me just go over a couple of bits of information. So remember, both Twin Towers collapsed in approximately 10 seconds. Those are over 100 floor buildings collapsing in 10 seconds. That's basically free fall. And, you know, if you have half a brain, you'd realize buildings with metal don't free fall. There is structure there that would slow down that collapse. And again, for people who don't know, and maybe Dale here doesn't know, we probably talked about it, but he's already forgot it already, that World Trade Center building number 7, 48-story building that housed very important information, CIA information, national intelligence, that collapsed, free fall, under 7 seconds, and was not hit by any airplane. So if you're unaware of that, pretty key. Now, we went over that pretty much in detail on the show previous to this. So we're not gonna touch on World Trade Center building number 7. But again, those 3 buildings would be the only 3 buildings that have collapsed due to fire in the history of mankind. History of mankind. And there have been many fires. Let me go over some of them. February 23rd, 1991, a 38-floor building in Philadelphia, which was considered one of the worst fires in the century. No collapse. October 17, 2004, in Caracas, Venezuela, 56-story building burned for 17 hours, over 26 floors, did not collapse. And also, the Twin Towers had, on 2 separate occasions in 1975, they had fires in the buildings that consumed about 6 floors or so. Obviously, the buildings don't collapse because metal doesn't collapse in fire unless, as we talked about in the show before, metal is only compromised when it hits 2,700 degrees Fahrenheit. And fires, office fires, 500 degrees.
What about jet fuel?
Jet fuel burns at approximately 800 degrees, really 650 to 800 degrees.
Oh, okay.
So you, as I said in the last show, you could have pumped jet fuel into the building for a month and the steel would have never been compromised. Because what hopefully we'll try to get you to understand is, because the fire is hot and you have fuel there, because the fire burns longer, doesn't mean it burns hotter. It just burns longer. Doesn't get any hotter. You can't get any hotter than maximum, probably 1,000 degrees in regards to jet fuel.
Okay.
Metal is compromised at 2,700 degrees. Okay. Not a chance. Not a chance. So, and so in the towers, these buildings, these other instances of these high-rise buildings burning for 17 hours, the towers burned for 56 minutes and 103 minutes and the fires were over 5 and 8 floors, and the building collapsed. Free fall.
What about the weight of the plane?
Weight of the plane. That's not that. It's pretty much hollow. It's pretty much hollow.
Well, then why they charge me extra if my suitcase is over?
Because you're not hollow. You're already enough weight in that plane. And then, I'm going to cut out some information that I'm not going to show you. And basically, it talks about the towers. So when you talk about the towers, the Twin Towers were built with 200,000 tons of steel. 200,000 tons. That's a lot of support.
That's a lot.
That's almost as much as you weigh. And then it had 425 cubic yards or 1,000 yards of concrete. It's concrete and steel. How does that collapse? Unless it was wired detonations to collapse via controlled demolition. And you've seen that also. Right? You've seen buildings where they bring them down?
Yeah.
Have you seen the pictures of the 9/11 towers coming down? Does it look like the same thing?
Well, now that you put it that way, yeah. I mean, I remember when they took down Texas Stadium where the Cowboys played.
There you go.
It looked a lot like that.
And then just to also say, those buildings, those towers were built to withstand a 707 hitting it. 707 is bigger than the airplanes that hit it. The airplanes that hit it was a 767. They don't fly as fast, and they're not as big. The 707 has 4 engines. The 767 that hit it, just 2 engines.
Okay.
So it was built to withstand a much bigger collision. And we're actually going to show clips where I think the manager of the construction project said it could stand multiple hits of an airplane. Multiple. So let's get to it right away because we got a lot of important information. I want to try to help Dale here understand how our government was obviously involved with this because, again, the reason they said those towers came down was because of fire. Not physically possible. Can't happen. So let's get to the first clip, Riley.
Brown says the towers were built to withstand 200-mile-an-hour hurricanes, the 100-year storm, the worst nature could dish out. But he says an airplane crash never entered anyone's mind.
However, that's not entirely true.
Yet the impact of the planes alone did not cause that failure. In fact, tall building designers try to anticipate air accidents. Marc Loiseau is president of a company called Controlled Demolition.
When this structure was designed, it was designed, to the best of my understanding, to take the impact of what was then the state-of-the-art airplane being used in our country, the Boeing 707.
The building was designed to have a fully loaded 707 crash into it. That was the largest plane at the time. I believe that the building probably could sustain multiple impacts of jetliners because this structure is like the mosquito netting on your screen door, this intense grid, and the jet plane is just a pencil puncturing that screen netting.
John Skilling, the World Trade Center's head structural engineer, told the Seattle Times after the 1993 bombing that if a plane struck the building, there would be a horrendous fire, but the building structure would still be there.
So the gentleman you heard from there was talking about how he could take multiple hits. He was, I think, what is it? He was
construction manager.
So pretty familiar with the building. As a matter of fact, did you see the note? Did you see where he remains missing since 9/11? And I could very easily see him being in his office in one of the towers, and when the plane hits, he goes, "No worry, the buildings won't come down." But he didn't take into account they wired the building to bring it down. Unfortunately for him, I'm just guessing.
But, okay, so the question that jumped to my mind, how did they wire it? There's people in and out of there all the time.
I have film pictures of the people that did that. Not on this show. Have to keep staying with us.
Right.
But it was done by the Israeli Mossad. And I don't know if you realize this or not, but Larry Silverstein owned not only the Twin Towers, but Building 7. All 3 buildings that came down. And 3 weeks before the 9/11, he took out an insurance policy specifically against terrorism for about $4 to $6 billion. Good timing, right? Larry Silverstein, maybe one of the luckiest men on the planet.
Yeah, he just had a feeling.
Really?
He just had a gut feeling. You ever get one of those?
Or he was aware what was going on.
So then tell me again, and I asked you this off the air. Okay, so say I buy into all this.
Okay.
Say I buy into it. What does the government have to gain by this?
If we have enough time, we'll show you on the end of the show what they get. We actually pointed it out the show before. Dale was tardy, didn't see it, didn't understand. But we'll point it out to you again, hopefully again at the end of the show. But if not, go back to the show number 3. At the end of show number 3, we said all the reasons why they did this and all the and everything they wanted to accomplish to use this as a red flag event to be able to accomplish the things they're doing. One of them, most importantly, is the Patriot Act, which allows the government to surveil us 24/7 for whatever reason they want if they consider us a domestic terrorist, a terrorist in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
That's why on your phone, when you're talking, they're listening to you. On Siri, on Alexa, on all these, they're listening to everything you're saying all the time. And they're allowed to do it because of 9/11. They were able to pass the Patriot Act because we were all up in arms saying, hey, it's terrorist. We have to protect ourselves. Go ahead, government. Take as much power as you want. That's a bad thing.
Yeah, that's not good.
That's a bad thing. Riley, before you do the next clip, I want you to see, it's about a 3-minute clip, 3-4-minute clip. Somewhere about halfway or a little past halfway. See if you can spot the CIA operative that is interviewed by the TV station telling us right away the buildings came down because of fire. And this guy's got a Harley Davidson t-shirt on. What is he? Is he an engineer that knows this? Or is he just a Harley rider? Or is it, hey, I have the Harley because I'm one of us. See if you can spot the CIA plant in the next clip halfway through. Go ahead, Riley.
It would appear, Jim, as if there's more smoke coming from the ground.
And we used to have another, things have fallen to the ground and are burning. And we have...
One gentleman told me he was on the 65th floor standing next to an elevator when the elevator exploded and knocked him out of his shoes. Another woman said that she was working on the 49th floor. She's seen people in the stairwells with burns, broken arms. People are passing out of the stairwells from the heat. She says there's a lot of heat and smoke. It's a horrible scene here. I'm live at Broadway and Fulton. Allison Keyes, WCBS 880 News.
All right, thank you, Allison.
Basically, there's people running around down the street. All the glass panes that are on the bottom part of the World Trade Center are all blown out. When I first heard it and ran over to the window, it looked like there was fire on the bottom floor.
Well, they're ahead there. And all of this, the world...
Oh, wait. Oh, my God. Oh, my God, the building fell. Are you there? The building just fell.
You said it sounded like the 4th of July. You heard a big explosion before the building fell?
I saw it as it was happening, and it sounded as if you had 100 of those little black cat firecrackers and you lit them all off at once. That's what it sounded like. It sounded like the finale of the 4th of July over the East River.
Oh, my
We just witnessed some kind of secondary follow-up explosion.
10 o'clock Eastern Time this morning, just collapsing on itself. We have no idea what caused this.
All almost looks like one of those planned implosions.
As if a demolition team set off. When you see the old demolitions of these old buildings, it folded down on itself, and it is not there anymore.
If you wish to bring anybody who's ever watched a building being demolished on purpose knows that if you're going to do this, you have to get at the under infrastructure of a building and bring it down.
Right now, police have to determine is whether that explosion was caused from the initial impact of the plane or whether it was something that was exploded on the ground. Generally speaking, for a building to collapse in on itself like that, it would seem to indicate that there could have been an explosion, a bomb planted on the ground that would make the building collapse within itself.
By that evening, eyewitnesses and experts alike were rushing to defend the official narrative of events, claiming that raging jet fuel fires melted the steel inside the Twin Towers.
I saw this plane come out of nowhere and just ream right into the side of the Twin Tower, exploding through the other side. And then I witnessed both towers collapse, one first and then the second, mostly due to structural failure because the fire was just too intense.
When one of those airplanes crashed into one of the towers, it was the equivalent of a 6-point earthquake.
Marlene Davis is the Dean of Architecture at the University of Tennessee. She calls the 110-story tall twin tower tube structures. That means there are no internal columns holding it up.
You know, when we saw this yesterday, people said, oh my goodness, there was a bomb on there. There must have been a bomb that collapsed. Must have been a bomb below. Right, that finished the job. Well, it turns out we heard from experts who said that, you know what, the fire on those floors, probably 1,500 degrees. Steel can only withstand so much because the steel structure that holds the building up was on the outside, and essentially the building started to melt and it gave way and it toppled.
Engineers suspect the temperatures inside the crash areas could have quickly reached well over 1,000 degrees, perhaps approaching 2,000 degrees, beyond the melting point of any steel.
So the last things you heard there were the lies immediately, the propaganda. I told you early on, and I could have showed you, and you can see the clip yourself, 200,000 tons of steel. And the steel structure is internally. It's not, and what you heard from the manager of the construction of the building said, the outside of the building, that's just like a screen. Like a screen door. And the internal construction of that building is where all the strength is. So they came out and start telling lies immediately on the media. Immediately. It was like a hollow tube. There's no structure.
2,000 degrees.
Yeah, and jet fuel, maybe 1,000, maybe. And then so he took jet fuel's at 1,000, maybe 15, maybe 2,000, maybe 1 billion. Who knows? It's probably that. So everybody, stop looking for the real reason it came down. We're giving you the reason. It's all nonsense. It's all propaganda. When you're behind a crime like this, whoever it was, you can say whoever it was. I feel it's our government because, again, we'd investigated, and what did we come up with? Nothing. Whoever is behind this, it's not like they're blowing this thing up and they're going, yeah, we hope no one says anything or sees anything or questions what's going on. The guy with the Harley shirt, it's like, oh, and obviously it came down because of fire. Oh, obviously. Who is this guy?
Right.
Who is he? Is he a fire chief? An architect? What is he? He's just some guy in the Harley shirt. Says, "Hey, I'm an American. I'm one of you guys. I'm just a normal Joe, and it's obvious came down with fire." Where did he come from? It's a plant. When you pull off a operation like this, you're also going to negate the information that comes from the media. And in other shows that we're going to show you how the media is owned and operated by these criminals that are trying to rule and run our country. Like we showed the George Carlin show from the video clip. The people that are running the world, it's a big club. We're not in it. And politicians are just there to make you think you have choice and we have freedom. It's nonsense.
Well, then why haven't people a lot smarter than you and I watch that thing in slow motion? Mm-hmm. And yes, when I saw that little bit of a slow motion, obviously we're not studying it, we saw it. But you could literally see like it looked like it went floor by floor.
Yeah, and you heard the lady saying firecrackers.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. We did that in the last show. What if you've ever been in controlled demolition?
Yeah.
A lot of explosions.
Yeah.
A lot of explosions because they're blowing stuff off.
So why is there not anybody smarter than us that's come out and walked us through why this couldn't have happened this way?
That's why this show's called The Real Matrix, because we're in it. Because nobody's questioning this. And so I'm reaching out to listeners, viewers, and you tell me. Get a hold of us here at the TV station. You tell me, how does this happen? And why haven't we heard more about this other information? Right. Think about this. These video clips that I showed the last show and also this show that we're doing, it's out there. Why wouldn't a TV network play that? Wouldn't that be interesting? An investigative reporter, why wouldn't they play that? Why wouldn't they make that aware to everyone?
That's what doesn't make sense to me. Be a hero.
Because we are controlled from the top down, the information we hear. Everything we hear in mainstream media is propaganda. Everything. They tell us what they want us to hear. Any truths that they don't want us to know, that's set aside. And when whistleblowers come out, you probably understand whistleblowers. Yeah. Whistleblowers come out every day. Whistleblowers come out against and they are pushed aside. You don't hear it in the news. You don't hear it on mainstream media. And as a matter of fact, just recently here, one of the people in Jeffrey Epstein child
the island.
Yeah. She committed suicide after saying on her Twitter that she's not suicidal, would never be suicidal. But she committed suicide. She's a whistleblower. It's very dangerous to actually come out against these groups.
Right.
Because they don't play by the rules. They're bad guys. They don't play by the rules. They do what they want. And they will do anything, including murder, including bringing down towers, to accomplish what they want to accomplish. Whether it be this operation to gain more control of the country with the Patriot Act. TSA came of it. You ever fly somewhere? Now you got to jump through hoops.
Yeah.
Didn't have to happen. Because when you look at it this way and you realize there weren't no Arab terrorists doing this. This was either the Israeli Mossad or CIA, or somehow we're involved in all of this. We did it, and now we're jumping through hoops when we fly. It should have never happened. Never. Think about that next time you're on a plane. Think about that next time you're going to the airport. We got a lot more stuff to get to. Riley, why don't we get to the next clip?
As part of their investigation, NIST contracted Underwriters Laboratories to recreate floor models from the Twin Towers for the purpose of fire resistance tests.
We heard about it in the news. We heard about it right away that the floors didn't collapse. Okay, so they tested these huge models. They're models, but they're huge. I mean, one model was essentially the same size and exactly the same as one of the types of floor sections used. And they tested it according to ASTM E119. They exposed it to much longer fire and higher temperatures than we know were present in the World Trade Center. So right away there was a problem. And that's August of 2004.
The final report was released on October 26, 2005, producing over 10,000 pages. It will not explain the actual collapse of the buildings. They only claim to get to collapse initiation and state flatly that it led to global collapse. The report, admittedly, does not actually include the structural behavior of the tower after the conditions for initiation were reached and collapse became inevitable.
We were charged with finding out the cause of the collapse, and we found what happened. I think we've scientifically demonstrated what was required to initiate the collapse. Once the collapse initiated, the video evidence is rather clear. It was not stopped by the floors below, so there was no calculation that we did to demonstrate that, what is clear from the videos.
NIST concludes that they found no evidence suggesting that the World Trade Center towers were brought down by controlled demolition. Where would people get an idea like that? 1. Except for material that was blown outwards, the Twin Towers collapsed into their own footprint symmetrically at nearly free-fall speeds. Newton's laws of motion determine how long it takes an object to travel a certain distance in complete freefall. In a controlled environment, an object dropped from the roof of either twin tower would reach the ground in 9.2 seconds. The 9/11 Commission report will state, at 9:58, the South Tower collapsed in 10 seconds. Even NIST says the tops of the buildings came down essentially in free fall.
And as I think I showed in clips last week, there was an engineer who said, buildings just don't collapse free fall. There is steel there to make sure you can feel comfortable going up in a building.
Right.
Just doesn't happen.
Well, and I guess when you look at it logically,
yeah,
you would think a plane flying into a tall building like that, if in fact it started to break up, that there would be pieces.
Correct.
Not straight down into its own footprint.
Correct. And we're going to show some other clips from, scientists, engineers, stuff like that say the same thing. Look at you. You're almost brilliant, Dale. Almost brilliant. The fact that but remember, the government said, NIST, our government said it was due to fire. Had nothing to do with the airplanes, due to fire. But let's say the airplanes caused some additional damage. Then it would have been an asymmetrical collapse of the building.
Yeah.
Some of the building would have fallen off to the side.
Like
whatever.
a tree. It would,
correct.
Yeah.
Not straight down. Dale, you're a good listener. You're starting to catch on after just the first half hour of the show. Pretty good. Tell you what, if you guys stick around on the second half, we'll give you more information that are just adding up. It's just adding and adding and adding. If you use your mind, use critical thinking, you will see at the end of this what the government told us isn't possible, and we need an alternative answer. We'll be right back in the Real Matrix. Want to make your love life sizzle like a Phoenix summer? Summit Male Medical guarantees to help you with ED or premature issues, or we won't charge you. We've helped tens of thousands of patients here in the Valley since 2008. Please compare our most experienced medical staff and low-price treatments to anybody. If you've talked to the rest, it's time to come to the best. Put the sizzle back in your love life. 480-398-1000 or go to summitmalemedical.com. Summit Medical, love for life.